Okay.
Guidelight Pathmaker, 4 white blue, 6 mana total for an artifact vehicle. It's a 6/5 with vigilance. When this vehicle enters, you may search your library for an artifact card and reveal it. Put it into the battlefield if its mana value is 2 or less. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Then shuffle. Cruzy. This is interesting because on its face, it doesn't seem particularly powerful. A 6 mana 6/5 vehicle with vigilance and crew 2, that is garbage. That's bad. Tutoring? Pretty good. Tutoring and being able to crew this immediately with the creature that you tutored. Because, like, for example, you can just fetch an artifact 2-drop, which is not, like, super, super uncommon. You might not always have it, but not the worst. And then if you're tutoring for a bomb, even if this is a creature on top of it, is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm not a huge believer in Guidelight Pathmaker. I think it's okay. I would take this at a C-, and in color it's probably like a C.
I kind of like it. So in white you can search for a common 0/4 that can crew creatures 2 times. This does have vigilance as well. In blue you can search for a 2-drop that's a 2/1 that can, well, crew vehicles obviously. There's like a really bad, kind of bad artifact creature, vehicle for 2 in blue that becomes a creature on the opponent's turn, so I guess that helps. In black there is 1 mana artifact that gives -2/-2 to something. The problem is that basically everything else is a vehicle. There's that Walking Sarcophagus, right? The 2/1 that you said, that's kind of fine.
Yep. But it's a lot. I think you can relatively reliably get a creature to crew this immediately.
Yeah. Which is kind of good, huh?
Which is kind of good. Kind of good, but kind of good. Maybe not the greatest thing for my 6-drop.
What did you give it?
I gave it a C- in color C.
Oh, we
Seems
gotta
fine to me.
write down the in color grade somewhere.
Are you gonna forget about it? Oh yeah, because we have to do it together. Yeah, I can write it
together.
I'll write it on my phone.
Thanks, man. Okay. I think it's very playable though. This is like, and I mean, the thing is, you sometimes don't care about getting something with mana value 2 or less. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get an artifact that I really want, and it costs more than 2. It's like I'm gonna get another one of these maybe. Like I'm doing fine in the game, and I'm just gonna get one of these, but then I have more vehicles. But yeah, yeah, I like this. I'm gonna give it probably C+, and in color like a B-.
That's like way higher than me.
Because like, sure, you get something to crew it right away, right? Then if they kill that creature, you block with this. But then you can also... Well, I don't know if you heard while you're writing things down, like, then yeah, you can also just get something for a lot of mana with this. Another one of these or something, like you can do that.
Oh, you can chain them, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, sometimes you're not gonna need that 2-drop in the play.
I'm sold. I'll go up to B- in color.
Okay. Do you want me to read while you're writing the multicolored ones and you go on the with white?
Sure, yeah. Could you read all the multicolors, please?
Yeah, sure. That's what I proposed.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
just reiterating. I'm just being clear.
Okay, baby, it's okay. Voyage Home. For 5 and a white and a blue, it's a sorcery that says Affinity for Artifacts. You draw 3 cards and gain 3 life. One thing to note, there are no artifact lands in this set. So that's important. Okay, card draw that lets you gain life is huge, because the downside of card draw is losing life. Because card draw usually basically always costs some mana, and you don't affect the board, so opponent attacks you and you lose life. But you say, I'm gonna lose this life, it's gonna be fine, because I'm gonna get more cards and win by playing those cards, and I'm not gonna go to 0. Any time that we have a card draw that helps you circumvent that and not lose the life you would usually lose, that is huge. That is like the best thing you can have on a card draw spell. Either making a body or making your opponent, like Behold the Unspeakable, making your opponent's creature small, or the easiest, simplest way for everybody to understand is gain life, just like gain 3 life. So that's That's really good. Now the question is, what mana? This is a powerful effect, but what mana how much mana are you happy using for this?
4.5.
4 or 5?
4.4. Well, I'm not happy. I'm slightly unhappy with 5. I'm happy with 4.
Oh, I'm extremely happy with 4.
Yep.
Right, I'm like, I'm super excited if I'm paying 4. 1 mana artifact that cheats an artifact. What is that? Nesting bot. Oh, really? There's like what? That's an uncommon, right?
Yeah, but it has to die.
Oh, it has to die. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a sticky artifact
It's
for 1
sticky
month.
artifact, right? I mean, man, it's 7, so if you can have 3 artifacts, that's crazy. This is super splashable as well. I hope the set is not super fast because I'm kind of into this, man. I'm gonna give this a C+. And in color like a B-.
I'm totally fine with that.
Okay. It's also super splashable.
I think this card is good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just depends how many artifacts you're gonna have. It's not that easy as in Modern Horizons or some sets. Haunt the network for 3 and a blue and a black. Sorcery, choose target opponent. Oh, it's also not as easy as in LCI. Like, we've had a lot of artifacts. This one doesn't seem like you're just randomly gonna be getting artifacts. There are not that many top tiers. There are no servos at all from what I saw. So, yeah, we're gonna see. Haunt the network for 3 and a blue and a black. Sorcery. Choose target opponent. Create 2 1/1 colorless top tier artifact creature tokens with flying. Well, that makes top tiers. Then the chosen player loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Ooh. As per artifact confirmed? Man. Less like small things you're getting, but if you drain them for like... if you drain them for 4, that's so worth it.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's like 8 life swing. And you get 2 1/1 flyers. This is hard for me to grade. I don't know how much artifacts you're gonna have. I hope you're gonna have a lot, because this could be like one of the best cards in the set, or it could be one of the worst cards in the set. Like, it could be both, but... I'm gonna go B minus B.
There's a good surplus of artifacts.
Yeah, I'm gonna B minus B.
Me too. Yeah. This is good. I think this is the best one we've seen so far.
And it crews some of your vehicles that you might be playing.
Yep.
You're also on the same B minus B?
Very good card.
Very good card, yeah. This is gonna be oppressive, man. Haunted Hellrite for 1 and a blue and a black. It's a 3/3 vehicle that you gotta crew for 1. Whenever you attack, target creature you control gains +1, +0, and gains death touch until end of turn. Untap it. So, what does chat think about these things? Like, because I think this is garbage. Absolute garbage. It's only a 3/3 for 3 mana, which is normal if it's not a vehicle. And then the effect is marginal. Like, vehicles need to be overtuned. They need to be like, what the hell? For them to be, okay, this is very nice. This is a nice card. They need to look crazy. Because it's not a creature. This is nothing. This is a thing that sits. Sure, it untaps so you
Better
can
than
walk.
Widow's Walk.
Sorry, what?
It's better than Widow's Walk.
What is that, Widow's Walk?
The derelict attic Widow's Walk from Duskmourn.
Oh, you mean the room that draws you like 2 cards and loses your life?
Yeah, I mean it's flexible in terms of how it affects combat too.
I mean, the power of that room was it draws you 2 cards, and then you can.
Yeah, that was the main part of it. I mean, you're right.
You can also sack it, right? Then like that other part didn't matter at all. But that other part almost never mattered. I don't think this is at all reasonable vehicle at all. I think it's pretty bad.
You like actually think the effect is garbage.
Yeah. The body is the biggest garbage. Like, that's like the first thing. Like, the body of this,
Yeah.
it's unbelievably small and bad. That's the body. So the effect needs to be something crazy, but does this feel crazy? It helps you.
Death touch on your attacking creatures means it's that much easier to build speed at least.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder to block the creatures.
The creature untapped can crew the vehicle on the defense. It can crew the vehicle on the defense. the problem is like that helps, right? It helps, but then they trade with it, and then you cannot crew the vehicle, and then it's just sitting there. We had a 1/4 that gave everything +1/+0, but it gave tokens detach, right? It was like that. It gave anything, not everything, anything +1/+0. And that was not good. But it was a real body. This one is this is nothing until it gets crewed. Man, God, I don't know. Hope I'm wrong. These vehicles are basically every vehicle is gonna suck. Hope I'm wrong. Hope we're gonna go through the grades, through the cards, and it's gonna be like, oh, now it looks fine, but it doesn't. It doesn't. So I think this is shit. I think it's a D-, and in color, a D. And I don't think this works well with start your engines. First it takes 1 billion years to do that, and then they trade with your 2-drop, and then what? They just trade with your 2-drop.
I'm gonna be a lot higher on this. I think it's like a D+C. Maybe C-.
Like, you know, what were the... In a set that had a crap ton of 1/1s. Kaldesh, like, what were the good vehicles? There was a 3-mana crew 1 vehicle that was 5/4 trample when it attacks. That's 3 mana.
That card was a mistake.
That was a mistake. That was really good. Like, that was really good. 5/4 trample.
And card was not on Arena either.
What do you mean? Yeah, it was.
Renegade Freighter is not legal on Arena.
Oh, it was on Arena, but
No.
like 6-7 years ago, but not when the Kaldesh...
Oh yeah, you're right. It was in the closed beta. It was legal in the closed beta. You're right.
It was there.
Yeah, you're right.
It was in that one last pack where you're like, come on, can I get it? Can I get it? The thing about, like, I could see this card being good in a different set. In a set that this is the vehicle of the set. No other vehicles, this is the one. And then you're like, I can pick this and I put it in my deck. And I don't have any other vehicle. Maybe I pick 2 of these and those are my vehicles, that's it. But the problem I'm seeing is, pick this one, then you pick another one that looks kind of fine. Then you pick another one, then you're like, wow, my deck sucks, I have too many vehicles. And by too many vehicles, I mean, I have 5. That's what I mean. I mean, like, oh shit, I have 5 vehicles, this deck is not good. My cards are amazing, but 5 vehicles, that's not good, that's really bad. That's what I mean. I don't mean, oh, I have 3. No, sorry, I don't mean I have 10. 10 is unplayable deck. I mean 5. That's where it's like, shit, I have 5, can I do this? This is gonna suck. What do you give it, Scotty?
D+C-.
Then go D+ in
We can
color,
give it a
I guess?
D+ ceiling, it's fine.
D+ ceiling? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Apocalypse Runner. For 2 and a black and a red, it's a 6/5. You can... Vehicle that crews for freaking 3. You can tap it, target creature you control with power 2 or less, gains lifelink until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. That's a lot. So, okay. 4 mana, 6/5 crew 3. So let's forget about effect for a second. That is absolutely abysmal. That is next to unplayable. Especially when it's black and red. 4 mana, colorless 4 mana, just colorless, no black red. Black red is a cost, right? You cannot put it in there. So colorless, 4 mana, 6/5 crew 3 vehicle. It's either gonna be a worst card in your deck or you're gonna always cut it. That's how bad that is. So let's focus on the effect, because that's kind of the thing that we're going for here, right? Crew 3 is extremely high of a cost. Just that's the reason. Target creature you control with power 2 or less. Are there things that like grow super big once they attack? Because the effect is kind of whatever.
There are cards with activated abilities that pump. The black common that starts your engines has a 2 mana pump ability, quite weak though.
+1/+1, right?
Yeah, +1/+1 for 2 mana, weak.
Actually, you know, I'm starting when I'm looking the art more like or here, I'm kind of getting the vibes of Twisted Metal, and I'm a huge fan of Twisted Metal ever since I was a kid. So that's actually kind of cool. I just started noticing it. So Yeah, there's like black 3-drop that self-pumps that, but 2 mana +1/+1, that's not what I had in mind. And I had in mind like once this attacks, it gets +2/+0 or something like that. Okay, so that's pretty
Like for
weak.
free, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty weak effect, right? Because you paid 4 mana.
Lifelink is big, but it's not good for the mana cost.
Yeah. But it's big, but it's also lifelink on a small creature, right? It's not lifelink on something big, small creature. And your 4-drop is getting tapped. What do you think? You started off this time. I'm kind of like hating on these vehicles so far.
No, I don't love it. I do think that the ability to circumvent blockers in order to get max speed is very strong. I do value direct damage a lot, and I value evasion a decent amount, especially because this is the max speed colors. These are the colors I want max speed ASAP. So I see this turn 4, get another counter speed. That's the best thing I see about this card. You know, I don't care about like the amount of life. I don't care about like the whatever. It's just increase your speed on 4. That's fine. You know, it's fine. It's fine. For me, it would be like a C minus C.
You know what the thing is? So these are the colors that like max speed, right? Think?
Yep.
The thing I have about max speed in these colors is... Man, I don't see the payoffs! I don't see cards that are like... Now I got max speed and now I'm popping off! Like, the best payoff that I see is that colorless 2/2 that 2/1 that becomes a 3/3.
I think the 5 mana Oil Gorging Vampire is actually a very good max speed card.
Oh, the lifelink flyer, flying haste.
Yes.
But that
I
kind
do
of
think
does
that card
that kind of gets you max speed on its own because it's flying haste 3/3 and gains lifelink with max speed. Like that's the best thing, right?
Yep.
But then how many 5-drops are you gonna put within deck if you're doing this as well?
Like 2.
Yeah, it's. But that one I like as well. That one. Other max speed, it's like there's almost not. There's uncommon. I'm talking about common. There's almost nothing. There is like there are cards in every single color pair. Sorry, in every single color that when they're in the graveyard and you have max speed, you pay 3 mana, you exile that card from the graveyard, and you draw a card. But that's gonna happen in super duper late game. So, except for that black card with 5 mana 3/3 lifelink, I don't really. I'm talking about commons, right? That most of your deck is gonna be commons. You get a good amount of uncommons, but it's a little bit harder. I'm talking about commons, and there's almost nothing that makes it like, oh, nice, I have it. Yeah, all the max speed payoffs are not too. Yeah, the max speed payoffs are really not aggressive at all. There's like nothing max speed that's aggressive.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. The payoffs aren't amazing. Specifically, I remember reading that they tried to intentionally design the set to slow it down.
Oh, nice!
Vehicles were inherently aggressive. Like, vehicles as a mechanic themselves lean towards aggression, and they wanted to make sure to design it in a way to slow it down. So I can see crumbs of that.
That's cool. That's cool.
In that a lot of the payoffs aren't snowbally for attacking. Because, you know, like, to be honest, I don't know what vibe you've been getting from people, but mostly when people talk on forums, on, like, streams, etc., people are always like, oh, this set looks like it's going to be so fast, no one's going to interact with each other, you know, like, just play, whoever plays wins. But I don't think the abilities back that up, as you're saying. The payoffs for max speed aren't necessarily fast, right?
Yeah.
Vehicles are inherently snowball-y, right, and aggressive, and it's harder to block with vehicles. But we'll see what wins out in the end, right? The design or lack of strength of the effects themselves, or the inherent design, quote-unquote, issues with vehicles.
There is that... just a quick... Because, like, we're gonna talk about max speed. Like on Uncommon, there is, like, that 5-drop in black that makes a 2/2 every single turn, every one of your turns, at the beginning of every one of your end steps. Like, that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. That's kind of it. Oh, there's also a 4 mana 3/4 in red that if you have max speed at the beginning of your upkeep, which is gonna be 1 turn later even, you exile 1 card and you can start playing it. So that's kind of cool as well. Man, this set might be kind of... I hope this set is a bit slower. I hope that I hope that you're correct. Like, because vehicles really aren't overstated. So, and there's a lot of them. Like, it's gonna be actually I think a little bit harder to make a deck. I think maybe a lot of creatures are gonna be super premium because there is a good amount of vehicles, and then you gotta pick the creatures. Those are way more important than vehicles. Okay, what do you give this card, Scotty?
I give it a C minus C.
I hope it's better. As chat has noted, it is much better in a stall scenario. Like, that's where it pops off the most. I'm gonna be on a D. It is so much 4 mana to do this. Do you need to have that creature to be able to do that? Then, like, okay, you deal 2 damage and you gain 2 life, right? You're not blocking really because you play this and that, so they're dealing like so much more probably. They're dealing so much more probably. I'm on a D minus and a D.
That's super harsh. Okay.
Man,
right, I'm gonna
it's
put
like
both of our grades down here individually. Cool.
so what's the middle grade? Like a D plus, but that's lower than your
Yeah,
grade.
I'm just gonna write our grades down individually. We can talk about it later.
Okay. Gastal Thrill Seeker. Alright, then here we go. Black and a red. 2/3 Lizard Berserker. Start your engines. Okay. When this creature enters, it deals 1 damage to target opponent and you gain 1 life. Max speed, this creature has that touch and haste. Okay, so this is the thing you were talking about. It's a 2-drop that gives you 2 speed right away. And whenever you play another one, you get a speed right away. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's really cool. But also just like...
This is a speedy card.
Yeah, it's a 2/3 body and deal 1 damage, gain 1 life. That's a really nice effect. Why not? It's cool life swing out of nowhere. And that touch and haste, yeah, sure. Yeah. I like it. I think this is a really good one. I'm gonna go with a C plus and B minus in color.
Exactly what I want.
Because you see, like, the cards that we saw before we got to vehicles, they're all like, yeah, this just does work, no matter what's happening. And then we get to, like, these vehicles, oh, exactly this needs to happen, and then that, and then it's gonna be good in this scenario, and this happens, opponent is not pressuring too much, I'm not, I care about speed, I have things that I can target, blah, blah, blah. There's, like, so many things, like, to go right. Like, when we gotta talk about all of that, then it's like, okay, is this really good? Next we got Boom Scholar. It's a 3/3 for 1 and a red and a green. It's a Goblin Advisor. Exhaust abilities of other permanents you control cost 2 less to activate. That's really cool. And it can exhaust. This is the first Okay, this is the first time we're gonna talk about it. We talked about exhaust, but exhaust is just an ability that you can use only once per permanent, of course. Every permanent can use its ability only once. Like, it's nothing new, it just has a new name. For 4 and a red and a green, creatures and vehicles you control gain trample until end of turn. Put 2+1/+1 counter on these creatures. On this creature. So 3 mana, 3/3, normal. 6 mana, it becomes a 5/5, and everything gets trample. Why not? And then you can, like, activate exhaust abilities on your other creatures, which is pretty good. Because green has, like, really good exhaust things from what I saw, and red has some as well. So I kind of like this. I kind of like this, like, even in multiples is great, so... C and a B minus in color? Maybe lower than a B minus, maybe C plus, what do you think?
I would go C. I would go B plus, or sorry, B. I would go B minus in color. I do think it's good. I really like the threat of activation on most of the exhaust cards too. Strong.
Yeah, there are good, like, the green 1-drop with exhaust is really nice. That's like the best one. And then there's like that 4/4 worm that has 7 mana exhaust. Now it's 5 and it becomes a 7/7 reach trample. So
Yeah, good card.
you do need a good amount of these, but in the end you're getting a 3/3. It's not that bad. Exhaust is also instant speed, man. That's exhaust is instant speed, and it always resolves. The thing is, like, you don't have to put counters on the creature. You don't have to do that. It just always resolves. Next, Rocketeer Boost Buggy. For red and a green, it's a 3/2 vehicle. Whenever this vehicle attacks, create a treasure token. You can also exhaust it, or use its exhaust ability for 3 mana, and this vehicle becomes an artifact creature forever and put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, now this is something that I can get behind. It's a 2 mana vehicle, it has crew 1, and it's gonna ramp you. And for 3 mana, you can make it into a 4/3, so it's a little bit irritating for opponent to block sometimes. It still falls into the trap. If you have too many vehicles, your deck is gonna suck. So that can be a problem. But this one feels kinda good. Imagine the curve out, by the way. 2 mana, this. 3 mana, you play the Boom Scholar. You crew it, you attack. You make a treasure. And now this costs 1, so your thing is a 4/3. That's kinda crazy. It's still a vehicle. But this can become non-vehicle, which is huge. So I like this one. This one I'm gonna go C and a C+ in color.
Okay, I can meet you at a. I can meet you at a C+.
You like it more?
Yeah, do you want to moderate that?
What happened? What moderate what? Sorry, what happened?
Oh, sorry,
Sorry.
1 second. Oh, it's just racist.
What? Oh, this. Who was race? I didn't see anything.
Yeah, no biggie. I don't know whose chat that was in. No biggie.
Okay.
I think the fact that this becomes an artifact vehicle on its own, or sorry, that this becomes a creature on its own, it's huge in terms of mitigating.
It is huge.
I think it's a B- to be honest in color. I actually think this is really good.
Yeah, it's not that big of a problem when you pay 3 because you're gonna get the treasure, so it's like... It's okay.
I can meet you at C+.
It's still a bit of a problem if you have too many vehicles, though. Or you met me at C+, right?
Yeah, I'll meet you at C+.
Hard for me to give vehicles that are not like game breaking more than that. That's like I think it's maybe gonna go down, but I kind of like it. Next up, we're on to Celestia. These are signpost uncommons, by the way. So this is something where we see what Wizards is trying to do with the color pairs. They don't always succeed. Sometimes they're way more interesting to do than what they had in mind. That's always the best thing that happens. But sometimes the things just fall off short. For first Celestia card, Lagorin, Soul of Alakria. For a green and a white, it's a 1/1 flyer. Whenever this thing attacks while settled, has settle 1, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target mounts and/or vehicles. Oh. Whoa! Well, that's kind of good. That's kind of nice. What do you say?
The vehicle doesn't need to be crewed to put a counter on it.
Yes. Yeah, you can put permanents, so +1/+1 counters on any permanent if it's specified like that on a card. C+B? By the way, we're going in color grays. That means like when you know your Celestia, right? Sometimes you're gonna pick this up a little bit lower maybe, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I'm not Celestia, damn, I'm not playing this card. But like some grades of some, especially non-splashable cards like this one, this is non-splashable, go way higher when you know your Celestia. So like, what do you think, Scotty?
This card's cracked.
Really good.
Very good. Yeah, I would also go in color B.
There are not that many mounts, but you're gonna. This is a mount. You just need one more thing to start like pop him off. This is crazy good. It also kinda, these mounts also kinda make vehicles worse. They just make vehicles even worse. So mounts are like better vehicles because they're creatures even when they're not crewed, so they affect the board always. But then the more mounts you have, the worse the vehicles become. Because then like you're using something to settle sometimes, like with this probably always, and then you can't crew your vehicles. For me, it's a very weird thing to include mounts and vehicles in the set, and then not making vehicles busted. Because like this card is amazing. Like we didn't see a single vehicle with effect this powerful, right, Scotty?
I think this is the strongest, yes.
But
how much of that is because it's a creature already, you know? But
let's forget about creature part. Just the effect. Like this has an effect of make a treasure, right? This has an effect. Where is it? For 4 fucking mana to make something small, very small, unblockable. But then this card disappears, right? And give it lifelink. Then this has an effect of +1 detach. Hopefully it matters, because I mean they can probably just trade the same with most of the cards. And then we get a thing that is not a vehicle, that is only 2 mana, not 3 or 4. And bam, the effect is like grows your board every turn by quite a lot, and it doesn't have to be settled. But it's not going to have the effect, but it doesn't have to be settled. Isn't this effect just more powerful effect than other vehicle cards they have?
It's definitely yes. Yeah, actually, yeah.
What do you give it?
It's good. B in color, but I would take it as a C+.
I couldn't see taking it as
Maybe
a
B-.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
take
can
it
see
as a
B-.
B-. I'm gonna take it as a B-
Sure.
and then B in color.
It's really good. Really good card.
Next up, we got Veteran Beast Rider. For 1 and a green and a white, it's a 3/4 human knight. At the beginning of your end step, untap each creature you control. For 2 and a green and a white, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Ooh. That helps with vehicles and mounts. And it's a very nice body for 3. And the effect is instant speed, so this is really good. I'm gonna go B- and B in color.
Yeah, I think this is on par with the last card we just saw. I do
Yeah.
think the last card is better, but I don't. I think this is very, very strong. B-,
Very
B for me as well.
Okay. Next up,
Good Celeste
Drift.
uncommons.
Okay, we got something here. Dune Drifter. X and white and black. It's a vehicle again, but wait, it's a 3/3. Okay. When this vehicle enters, return target artifact or creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. You crew it for 2. It's always a 3/3, but 2 mana 3/3 vehicle, crew 2. That's pretty bad. But then 3 mana you can get back on the battlefield, like a 1-drop. You can get a 2-drop, 3-drop. The more you pay, so it's gonna be 4 mana get a 2-drop back, 5 mana get a 3-drop back, and so on. That's a condition. That's definitely a condition. Like, things need to die, or you need to discard them or mill them. It does affect the board once you play it, usually. It affects the board without needing another thing to crew it already being on the board. So I'm kind of okay with this. I'm gonna take it as a C, and it's a C+ in color, I think.
Yeah, I think the effect is good. It's just a little expensive. Conditional on you having stuff in your graveyard, which I actually don't think will be like that difficult.
That is the big thing, right? Yeah, having things in your graveyard.
I think C+ is right in color in terms of how it will play out. It's just kind of disappointing that you get the creature back and then you're kind of thrilled if you were able to then trade this off. You know, you're like super thrilled if you can trade this off with another 3 tokens creature. So
maybe C in color? C-, C in color?
I still think it's a C+.
Okay, let's go C+.
Like it's gonna feel pretty dang like, okay, there is an upside. You got 7 mana, bring back like a 5-drop. That's gonna feel very, very good.
Oh, it's gonna be so good, yeah.
Yeah.
You can also chain these forever, but they are vehicles. So, like, you can just have 2 of these and constant looping itself, but they are vehicles. So it's not like you're gonna trade them that easily. Alright, we got Embalmed Ascendant. For 1 and a white and a black, it's a 1/2 with Start Your Engines. When this creature enters, you create a 2/2 token. And max speed, whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Woo! Now we're freaking talking. That's something I wanna get my speed up to. That's something. Like, you get 2 bodies, one of them is a 1/2. Usually we get a 1/1 or something. So it's like, just having a 1/2 and a 2/2, that's already great for 3 mana. But then if you get to max speed, now we're freaking talking. This is great. I'm on a C+ and a... It's still so hard, not easy to get the max speed, but B- or a B in color? What do you think in color? I'm gonna go with you.
I would give it a B- in color.
Okay, B- in color. Do you like the card?
I think it's very, very good, yes.
Yeah, it's just like the base is
I have
good.
no notes.
And 2 bodies for vehicles. That's and mounts. That's something important. We are on. Okay, we are on to so we are on to is it? I don't know. Orzhov is a little bit all over the place. Oh, just one thing, guys. When you're looking at the cards that can be sacrificed and so on, there's basically no sacrifice in the set. Like that's not a team at all. There's basically nothing that is gonna sack your creatures for some extra value. Basically nothing in the set. So you can not think too much about that. There are things that sack themselves. That's about it. So forget about like getting things. Black has sacrifice. Not really, right? Like it just doesn't. It has like that
like
one. It has like one single uncommon that for 1 mana, it's a sorcery. You can sack. You sack something, artifact or creature, and then you destroy something. There's like one uncommon for 1 mana.
It's not great.
Yeah, there's basically no sacrifice, as I've said. No cards that are gonna like be a creature or artifact, enchantment, some permanent that's gonna say, oh, pay 1 mana, sack for something, pay 2 mana, sack for something. So these sack things, which are one of my favorite things to do in Magic, they don't exist here. So you no need to think about it. Like when 2 bodies or something is I'm gonna sack them, small artifacts, I'm gonna sack them. That's not gonna work. We are on to Izzet next. Boosted Sloop. What is a sloop?
Sloop is a ship. Type of ship. Type of ship.
Oh, it's a type of ship, okay. For 1 and a blue and a red, it's a 3/3 menace. Whenever you attack anything, draw a card and discard a card, crew 1. Now we are talking. Right?
I can't believe this is the same mana cost as the Dimir one.
Exactly. It's like +1/+0 death touch, untap, or freaking loot. Whenever anything attacks, just free. And by the way, this has menace. Also, that other thing doesn't, if I remember correctly. So yeah. Talk about vehicles having good effects because they're freaking vehicles. This is the one. Free looting. This doesn't even have to attack. Just loot. You gotta attack, sure. Very, very good. B- in color. Because it's a vehicle, I'm gonna give it a B, not a B+, but it's probably a B+, right?
That's high. I would give it a B.
Okay, let's go B. Because it's a vehicle, let's do that. Okay, good.
I do think this is worse than the Selesnya ones. That's why.
That's also probably true.
Yeah.
Big Puss says like they're really trying hard to make me want to play vehicles. I don't think they are. This is the first one where we got excited. This is the first time they were like, yeah, the first. And we're doing multicolor, which should have like much more powerful things. Next up, Broadside Barrage. For 1 and a blue and a red. Broadside Barrage deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, draw a card and discard a card. Woo-wee! Instant speed, kill basically anything. Also vehicles. In this set, instant speed removal is going to be more important because you can target vehicles when they crew them. So that's big deal. Either when they crew them to block or when they crew them to attack. It's hard to kill things at sorcery speed that are not creatures on your turn. Or they block especially. And then you loot as well? Hell yeah, like this didn't have to loot, but it does. B-, how high I pick it? In color? I'm gonna give it a B, but it's close to B+. But I'm gonna give it like a really high B. Close to B+. What do you want?
I also think I think this is worse than the Lagarin, but this is very good.
Worse than what?
B for me. The 2-drop Selesnya.
Ah, okay. Next up.
It's really good.
Yeah, you never wait. Now that I started reading, you never kind of. You usually don't have much to say later for this card, like.
Well, it's because you're so thorough, and also we're speedrunning this.
You're not.
If I have something, if I disagree with you, which I haven't so far, I would fight you.
Okay. Please do. No, it's grown. It's talking loud. It's not fighting. Okay. Just for the viewer, for the younger audience.
I will slap you.
Okay, come on, sorry. We do that only in you know when. Broodheart Engine for black and green. We're on to the Golgari now. At the beginning of it's an artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. Okay, pretty cool. For 2 and a black and a green, and tap and sack this artifact. So yeah, okay, just sack it and pay for mana. Return target creature or vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only a sorcery. Man, I hope the set is slow. I hope the set is slow, because if the set is slow, you're surveilling every turn and then get something that you want back from your graveyard. That's kind of cool and kind of good. If the set is not very slow, this is 6 mana for this effect, sorcery speed, and it's a conditional effect. This is not just like, oh yeah, like you gotta get a 6-drop or something. This is 6 mana. So, if the set is slow, it's gonna be better, but I gotta start it as a very, very low bad grade. Which is gonna be a D, and in color, still a D. I doesn't, not, no. D minus, okay, D minus, no, D minus, yeah. And in color D.
This is low impact for, like, you know, 5 mana, no other effect. Return something to the battlefield. Bad. it's bad.
It's really bad.
This is, I think, a little bit better than that. Obviously, distributing the mana cost is huge. Like, this is, like, to say the 6 mana return something from the battlefield is
6 in total, right?
It's unfair, right? 2 and 4 is way less than 6.
But it's also 6 in total.
if you don't like it, if you don't look at it mathematically, 2 and 4 is a lot less than 6.
But you did have to spend 6 in total.
Yeah,
it's easier to do,
but I don't think this is good. I'll give it a D as well. I would probably give this an in-color G+.
You know what you can play for 6? You can play a 6/6 reach. When this creature enters, you gain 4 life. That's a green common. And then you can also cycle that card. I think green is going to be really good in this set. You probably just never play this, but you probably just never play this. Do we give it D- in color? Like D-?
I mean, this card does synergize with that card, because on turn 3 you cycle that card and then you bring it back on turn 4.
Oh
there
my
we
god,
go.
that sounds so bad. And then they kill it, and then it's turn 5. You have nothing on board.
Yeah, but you gain 4 life.
Yeah, you did gain 4 life, I guess. Yeah. You're gonna die a little bit slower. Now Scotty, man. Like, okay, 4 mana. Let's forget about the surveil, because it's not that good. You just pay 2 and you wait for a long time. If you have a 4 mana, get creature and artifact back from the graveyard to the battlefield, like, that's bad. Like, that's really, really bad. Really, 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 really bad. If it's not, I'm not talking about, this is also Golgari, right? I'm talking about 4 mana fucking colorless. Get something from a graveyard back to the battlefield. That is really bad. But this is way worse. Can we give it D- in color, Scotty? I'm just talking about freaking Zombify, how bad it is. And this is like this is worse Zombify.
That's pretty convincing.
So yeah, a bad card is much better than this. Like, yeah, don't put this in the deck most likely. But it's gonna be super cool set if you're gonna want to put this in your deck. Maybe some kind of a 5-color deck or some shit. And then, like, you search for this with that 6-drop, put this in play. I don't know. Maybe if it's super slow sets, maybe these things are gonna happen. Next up, we got a Thundering Broodwagon. It's a 2, double black, double green. So they really don't want us to splash this card, because it's extremely powerful, I guess. Well, let's see. It's a 6/5, okay, that's pretty weak. Menace Reach, okay, that's pretty weak. When this vehicle enters, destroy target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value 4 or less. Okay, that's pretty strong. You can cycle it for 2 and you can also crew it for 3. Art is so sick as I think art is so sick as well. I don't even know why, but it feels so sick. Okay, very powerful effect. It's a 6-drop all in all. Very powerful effect. The body is something to not be very happy about. 6/5 menace reach. You gotta crew it for 3. But this is very playable in Golgari. This is very, very playable in Golgari. Like, you killed something. What, do you like the card, Scotty?
I do. I think it's pretty good.
What would you give it?
Probably like a C plus.
Yeah, I'm okay with C+. If the set is kind of slow, this is gonna be the vehicle I'm gonna be looking for. In Golgari, obviously.
I think it's extremely rough that it can't kill 5-drops.
Yeah, why?
Well, I mean, like on the turn, right? Like in a typical curve out, let's say your opponent doesn't have an amazing deck or whatever. They just play like a normal 5-drop that's going to threaten you. To not be able to play your 6-drop and swing the board drastically in your favor is like, it's fair.
I mean, if you kill a 4-drop, that's drastic swing, right?
It's a pretty big swing, but not being able to answer, like you can't rely on this to answer your opponent's largest threats.
Of course, yeah.
So like to count this, I mean, you can't really count this as a removal. And if I want to pay 6 mana, I kind of just want to be removing something, like anything.
Yeah, and you don't really get a creature. You get a creature that has a crazy high crew cost. Crew 3 is very high.
I mean, you can kill a 4-drop and then crew it and then trade with a 5-drop, so I guess it's not that bad.
But it falls in the same trap as all vehicles. But at least you did affect the board in a meaningful way. So, and cycling is kind of okay that it has it. Okay, sure. I'm fine with that. I'm C minus because it's only Golgari, so C minus, and C plus in color seems fine. Next up, we got Boros. Can you read this one? I just gotta blow my nose.
Cloudspire Coordinator, red, white, 2 mana for a creature human pilot. It's a 3/1. When this creature enters, scry 2. Tap it. Create X 1/1 colorless pilot creature tokens, where X is the number of mounts and or vehicles that enter the battlefield under your control this turn. The tokens have this token saddles mounts and crews vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. There's a lot of value. This is a 2-drop that can trade with a lot of stuff and gets additional value when it comes into play. When you tap this for its ability, it's not like you lose the ability to crew the vehicles that you just played, because you know the pilot can crew most vehicles in the set. Most vehicles are crew 3 or less. This is not like I wouldn't see this as like a crazy value engine, but I think it's an extremely powerful 2-drop. To the point, I think this is like a C plus B minus for me. It's very good.
Okay, I forgot exactly what this does. I gotta remember.
I mean, all Kylum cards look kind of funny, to be honest.
What's that?
This is a really good card.
Right.
I give it a B minus in color.
3/1 scry 2, that's kind of good. Ooh. Oh, that's nice. That's, wow. I forgot about this card. Yeah, hell yeah. I think I'm picking it as a B minus. I think in color it's like a B at least.
Sure.
Or even a B plus. Like it's... Wait, this is crazy when you start... Like all of a sudden your vehicles are really good if this survives. No, this doesn't crew to 5. Not all pilots have that effect. All token pilots have the effect +2. Some non-token pilots, it needs to be written on a card. It's not that
That's amazingly confusing.
Very confusing, yeah. Because some pilots...
That's horrible, but yeah.
Cards, not talking about tokens. Some cards actually have the effect of the token. Or to crew for +2. Being colored? That's amazing. Like you're also going wide. You're making real creatures. Jesus. Also in late game, like this is a 2-drop that scries for 2. So it's like, it has a good effect for the late game. Oh! Well, this is something. Wait, after you play this, every vehicle you have is like a B+. Right?
Yeah, it's super strong.
Like every vehicle and mount after you play this is a B+ card. If this survives. Okay, that's crazy. Cloudspire Sky Cycle. Sky Cycle. For 2 and a red and a white, it's a 2/3. Flying? When this vehicle enters, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 other target vehicles and or creatures you control. Well, that's not very good, because it's a vehicle. That is not very good, because it's a vehicle. And this is something I'm going to be repeating and repeating and repeating in this set. Because it's actually not a real creature. Yeah, who cares? D and a D plus in color. Maybe it's worse.
It can't add a counter onto itself either.
I don't know why.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's like Felder Saver, but it's not that Felder Saver is good, but it's not like completely broken, right? It's just a really nice, really good card. But then this trades, yeah, this trades being a freaking creature right away for flying, and it loses lifelink. What do you think? I'm on a D plus, but probably it's maybe worse.
I think
This is
it's a
infinitely
little better
worse.
than that.
Sorry, what do you think?
I think it's a little bit better than that. I think in color it's like a C minus. But
Yeah,
I'm
why?
not that much different than you. I just believe slightly more.
The problem is
Crew
like,
one is relatively cheap, but the body itself kind of sucks.
like, what happens when you pick these vehicles at like C-1 and then you have like 6? And then you start losing the games because you only have vehicles on board.
I mean, like you use the your curve is low. You use this as your curve topper. Push through a couple more damage. When they stabilize the board further, use this to chip in last points of damage.
Okay, I can go
It's
to
not
C minus.
great. C minus though for me.
Yeah. No, this is not about power level. It's we saw some extremely powerful cards, right? So it's not like this set is lower power. We saw really, really powerful cards. Just like I don't know what happened to vehicles. Like they didn't buff them a lot. Like the more vehicles a set has, the more powerful they have to be. Because no matter how powerful they are, unless they're making a body or killing a body, you can't put too many. Let's go to the next vehicle. Ranger's Aetherdrift. For 3 mana, 1 and a green and a blue, it's a 3/5. It has vigilance. Okay. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, create a 1/1 colorless top-tier artifact creature token and crew for 1. Okay, like it's a 3 mana, 3/5 vigilance, yeah, crew 1 only. If you can activate exhaust once, this is incredible. Incredible, if you can activate it once, right?
Yeah, because then this top tier can crew this too.
Yeah, if you can do that. Green has one really, really good exhaust. Blue has some exhaust. I'm talking about commons. I don't know. This is weird. It's like if you don't have exhaust, much exhaust, it's so bad. But you really need to have exhaust for this. But it really pops off if you do have 1 or 2. I have no idea. Scotty, you lead with the grades on this one.
Yeah, sure. I actually think this one's. I'm kind of a believer in this one. I do think you'll be able to collect enough to activate this like 2 times on average in your average Simic deck, which is a pretty good card. 3-drop, not super expensive to get down. Big butt, and I like that a lot actually. So this is like a C+ in color to me. I'd probably take it as a C-.
In color C+? Sure, but it goes so much lower if you don't have enough exhaust, obviously. But it is just one single exhaust, and this becomes really, 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 really good. There are good exhausts for in uncommon level. Like the next one has exhaust. It's a green and a blue Sky Serpent Seeker. It's a snake. It's a 1/1 flying death touch, so it's gonna kill anything. But for 4 mana you can use this exhaust ability. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal 2 land cards. Put those land freaking cards onto the battlefield tapped and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Oi! Okay. The worst is gonna trade with literally anything. And then it can be a 2/2, I guess, but if you need this, you get 2 lands, why not? Oi! This is great. I don't think it's as good as it looks, though. I think it's really good in green, because you do have in green, you have a common, and you're gonna be playing green with this. You have a common 6 mana, 6/6 reach that gains you 4 life. historically, those cards, you can put like a ton of them in the deck because they kind of circumvent the problem of 6-drops. Because you have 3 6-drop in your hand, you lose most games because once you start playing them, opponent play the whole hand, and it's taking you like 15 turns to play out your hand. But if they gain you 4 life, they negate some attacks, and you have time to play them. And this like just ramps you into those. Okay, I'm gonna C plus and B in color? Because of that 6
I'm a
drop.
tiny bit lower.
Yeah?
I'm a tiny bit lower on a B minus, but I'd still take it as a C plus.
Okay. Sure, we can go with your
I
grade
can
this
meet you
time.
at B, whatever.
Like
I'll go
that?
down B for us. It's good.
I think the big deal why it's good is that 6-drop in green. Because now you can just like play it, and that's every team's dream, right? You have three or four 6/6 creatures on the battlefield, and you're so big, and then you win because the opponent is small. But that's a real deal with the life gain. That's not just a dream or a mistake. Okay. Next up,
Rares,
we got
right? Rares, right?
rares are the next one. And oops, that got the multicolored ones. Let's just. What is this? This is like the number, sort by number. That okay, Scotty? You want me to continue reading the multicolored?
The numbers? Are you on Medicant Core?
Yes.
Okay, I can read. Medicant Core Guide Light. White blue for 2 mana for a star 3 legendary artifact creature robot. Medicant Core's power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. Start your engines. Max speed whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may pay 1. If you do, copy. This is interesting. I don't think it's that difficult to turn this into a fine body, but the turn it comes down, it's quite tiny. But it can get to a 2/3, in my opinion, relatively easily. 2/3s are not that easy to block on turn 3 if you're on the play. And the effect once you hit max speed and sit there
Insane.
is really strong. It's pretty crazy. Once you hit max speed, it's probably going to be late enough in the game where you do have mana lying over, so it's not like a curve out consideration. You're not losing a ton of value by not curving out. I believe you will have excess mana once you get there. These colors don't care as much about max speed, but it doesn't necessarily hurt either. There's a common in every color. There's a common in every color that gets bonuses from the graveyard when you have max speed. That's fine. I think this is good. I think in color, this is a B. Probably take it as a C+.
Yeah, just because like, it's probably gonna be a good body. I think most of the times you're just gonna trade it. Max speed is gonna be pretty hard to do. But why not? It's a B that high?
Yeah, I think this is a perfectly serviceable body with a very strong payoff if it does.
Could be a 1/3 for a while as well sometimes. I don't think you're going super wide with artifacts, so it's gonna be a bit hard for this to be like a quick 3/3. I don't know, and I'm not a huge believer in max speed. It's extremely powerful effect. But once you get there, you've gotta go draw artifacts then. I'm okay with it, like with a C, how highly I pick it, and really a B, like we got that Celestium, we got like so many cards that were Bs that just like are good, are great, amazing, and not much has to happen. This one kinda, I don't know, man. I would say like it's a C plus B minus in color. I'd probably say it's a C plus.
Okay.
Go to B minus then, I guess.
I think fundamentally I think the start your engines is less slow than you do, or less difficult than you do.
It's gonna be like
I do think it's slow.
It's gonna be like usually turn 6. The earliest is gonna be turn 6.
Yep.
Right. Oof,
but I think this is a totally fine body that becomes insane in the late game.
Okay.
Winter Cursed Rider is blue-black. 2 mana total for a legendary creature, human warlock. It's a 3/2 with ward, pay 2 life. Artifacts you control have ward, pay 2 life. Exhaust 2 blue-black and tap it to exile X artifact cards from your graveyard. Each other non-artifact creature gets -X until end of turn. So 4 mana, tap it, do a pseudo sweeper. You are going to miss a fair amount of cards. You're going to miss your opponent's vehicles, but you just get to clear everything else out of the way. I don't think that it's reasonable to exhaust this for like more than 2 consistently. It's pretty difficult. But the effect is strong, and you just get to choose when that happens. Also, notably, it's an instant speed, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah,
Which is kind of nuts. The fact that it's an instant speed sweeper.
Yeah.
This is good. I also think that this is a B in color. I'd probably take this at a C+.
Yeah, worth pay 2. It's a reasonable body. How many artifact cards you're gonna have in your graveyard? Like, wouldn't really call it a sweeper. And each other non-artifact creatures, so it's gonna be a sweeper for non-artifacts, right?
Yep. So it doesn't kill everything that you want it to kill.
Yeah, or nothing. Or it kills nothing that you wanna kill.
Now take all the pilots and put them straight into the graveyard.
Yeah, I don't think this is a sweeper. I think that, yeah, this is like maybe combat trick or something like that. Doesn't feel that good. I don't know how many artifacts are you gonna have in your graveyard.
I think it'd be hard to do this for X=3.
For X equals?
I think it'd be hard to do it for
Yeah.
X=3.
I think it's okay. I'm actually on a C and a C+. I think this is just like, it's a nice 2-drop that is gonna be a little bit of a removal magnet maybe, but it's just like a nice 2-drop.
Well, I also think that. A couple things I think we disagree on here. I think that this is ignorable. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think your opponent. If your opponent thinks through and doesn't knee-jerk reaction to a rare, I think your opponent can leave this alone a fair amount of the time, which is a really bad sign. You know, like, so I actually don't think it's a huge removal magnet. But also, I do think that you can manipulate combat in a really effective way to make this exhaustibility like pretty annoying. Just for the fact that you can block and shrink something too with Winter itself, and that will just turn off some number of attacks from your opponents, even their large green creatures, is like solid. I think that's solid.
Yeah, I guess. It's also, I think most of the time what I'm gonna do with this is like play it and trade it. But sometimes then in the late game it's gonna be way better when you play it. So yeah, I guess it's okay. I can go a C and a B-.
Okay, I'll go B-.
Okay, I can see that. Because it like does more. It's like always gonna be a nice 2-drop for your deck. But I don't think I'm ever gonna be picking this and oh yeah, I'm gonna go Dimir because of it. But it can do things, especially when it's not on the battlefield, right? When it's in your hand and then opponent doesn't know. So yeah, okay. Okay.
Far Fortune N Boss is 2 black-red for a legendary creature human mercenary that is a 4/5. Start your engines. Whenever you attack, Far Fortune deals 1 damage to each opponent. Max speed, if a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent opponent controls, it deals that much damage +1 instead. This is a pretty wild max speed payoff. It's pretty wild.
Yep.
It's pretty easy to enable.
Yeah.
Speed the turn you play this. Just attack with your 3-drop, get a ping in, no matter if they block or not. Doesn't matter. They take a damage. The payoff here is huge. The body itself is huge. This card is very strong.
Yeah.
You basically never want to be starting your engines with this card. I'm assuming you're going to have speed already in these colors. You want to start your speed early with your 2-drop, ideally. And this is such a crazy payoff for it. Such a crazy payoff for hitting it.
I mean, even if
Makes
you
it so much
started
harder
with
to do
this, you get
combat,
to 2
kills your
right away,
opponent.
right?
Yep. Yeah. So it's strong. I do think that this is a B+ in color, and I'd probably take it as like a B-.
B+? Is it that powerful? As a B+?
I mean, hitting max speed and just like offering a trade and dealing 2 to face no matter what is really good. Really, really good. I thought Valley Flamecaller was like a B+.
I think that Celestia 2-drop is better than this. Just because like there's not
I don't think
much
so.
not much that max speed does. It's not much. It's also an outlaw. It's like there's There's not much, I think. Not a huge believer in it. Interesting. I'm not a huge believer in like two main mechanics of the set. The max speed and the vehicles. We're gonna see. I would go to the B, but we can go with your B plus. B minus sure seems fine. How highly I pick it. Yes. Seems fine. I guess I can see this card going way down, but we're gonna see.
Redshift Rocketeer Chief. Red, green, 2 mana for a legendary creature, Goblin Pilot. It's a 2/3 with Vigilance. Tap, add X mana of any one color, where X is Redshift's power. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. Exhaust 10, red, green. Put any number of permanents from your hand onto the battlefield. I don't care about that last ability at all. This is a 2/3 with Vigilance that has the effect of the colorless card. the 0/4. Which is not bad. Which is
way
not
better.
bad.
Way better than the colorless
Yeah.
card, right?
Yeah. But the exhaust ability basically doesn't exist to me. In fact, you may activate the exhaust ability just to trigger your cards that care about exhaust. But almost nothing else.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. Like, you can't let the fact that the exhaust ability is horrible distract you from the card that this is just fine. You know, this is fine on its own. I don't mind it at all. So I'd probably take this at like a C minus, and in color it's like a C plus.
Yeah, it's very nice that you can activate the exhaust ability. It's like much easier. Also has vigilance, so you can still activate when it attacks. Yeah, sure. C minus, C plus. That's exactly what feels right. You go to the next. Oh, we can. How about we read like we did it before? When it's two of us, it's so much easier. Like I read one, you read one.
To go back and
because
forth?
yeah, then it's like when the last one of us gives grade, he can just like continue reading the next card.
Okay.
All right. There's no like pause in between, and it's so much easier when it's two of us. We're kind of practiced, I hope, for this. Paradora, Heart of Alakria. For 2 and a green and a white, it's a 4/2 legendary creature. When it enters, you may search your library for a mount or a vehicle card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. If one or more +1/+1 counters will be put on a creature or vehicle control, that many +1/+1 counters are put instead. It's amazing. The 4 mana 4/2 that draws you a card, it's non-land that you choose, and God forbid if you have something that puts +1/+1 counters, like any exhaust ability, basically any, like the Celestia 2-drop that just like puts 4 counters then, if you have, or maybe 2 on itself, whatever. Amazing. I would say I pick it as a B minus, and it's B plus in color, I think. It's great to just trade
4
it.
mana, 4/2 draw spell. Yeah, this is a B plus. It's fine. I like it. I mean, it's really good. Sorry.
It's better than
It's the wrong
draw
word.
card.
It's better than draw card, and it also has a pretty relevant static ability.
Yeah.
Zahur, Glory Path. This is 2 mana. White black for a legendary creature, Zombie Cat Warrior. It's a 3/2. Start your engines. Sacrifice another creature, surveil 1. Activate only once each turn. Max speed. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. This is pretty crazy max speed ability. That's very strong. I like it. Sacrificing another creature, surveil 1. Fine, nice, nothing too game breaking. I don't love how difficult this will be to attack on turn 3. Don't love that. The fact that this will trade off with any old reasonable 2-drop means that most of the time you're going to play this, be like, yeah, I played my rare on turn 2, should be great. Your opponent plays a 2-drop, you're going to be like, oh, okay, well, play my 3-drop pass, I guess. Which is not fantastic, especially because like it would be nice if this could get value on its own by trading, but it doesn't. It doesn't. You don't want to attack this until your opponent's 2-drop, because your 2-drop will most likely have more value on the field, which means that starting your speed will be sort of limited a little bit, unless your 3-drop can change combat in some sort of way. It's all right. I just don't love the stat line. It's fine. I think in color it's a B minus. Probably take this as a C minus.
Yeah, I really want to like start your engines right before. So I think it's just gonna be a 2 mana 3 to the trades. That's it. But if you just random 2-drop with no text. But then yeah, if you play it a little bit later usually, because I don't think it's worth saving it. Like you save it, and then yeah, this dies into 2/2 with max speed. But then later on, it's nice. There's also that uncommon in Orzhov that gets you back a creature, so this is kind of fine to get back. Because like any creature, vehicles as well included, when they die, they're good to get you a 2/2. So, what do you give it?
I give it a B- in color.
B- in color seems fine. I think it could prefer. Bro, I can go to B-. I think it might fall down to a C+ or something. But I'm gonna
I
pick
can see
it.
a C+ easily for this. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's go to C+ then. Because I can see it super easily, because it's usually just gonna trade off. Is it a 3/2 for crewing? You can't do that, like, have creatures for crewing, right? And every creature you can say, oh, this is just gonna crew, right? The game doesn't work like that. Like, it's not the first time we have vehicles.
I think it is fair to say that 3 is a pretty solid breakpoint for crewing certain vehicles versus 2.
But how many vehicles are we really gonna play, though? And out of color, just a C- for me. I'm not very excited about this one. But the next one is Captain Howler, Sea Scourge for 2 and a blue and a red. It's a 5/4 with Ward 2 and pay 2 life. Whenever discard one or more cards, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of the turn. For each card discarded this way. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, you draw a card. Okay, there is some cycling, looting and so on, like especially in EZ, so this thing that's gonna happen. And this is something, we saw that 3 mana colorless card that has powerful effects but does nothing on its own. Well, this is a 4 mana 5/4 body that is very hard to remove, and they're gonna also lose life when they remove it. And it has Ward, so they're gonna spend a lot of mana to remove it. Everything is beautiful about this card. This is great. I don't think it's even close to a bomb, but it's gonna feel like that sometimes. So I'm gonna go with a B in color, and I'm gonna actually be picking it as a B-. Probably B-, yeah. Maybe a C+.
I think this card is really good.
Yeah.
I think this card is really, really good. It's big stats, uncontested, lots of damage. Can easily crack in for 7 damage if it's actually uncontested. So it really tests your opponent to actually have blockers. Can change combat instant speed. Can draw things instant speed when creatures slip through too. Really flexible. I do think this is a B+.
Okay. Alright. I can agree with the B+. Like, doesn't need support. But there is, I think, enough support for this kind of effect. Because you do get a great body already.
Next card is Fearless Swashbuckler. 1 blue-red for a creature fish pirate. It's a 3/3 with haste. Vehicles you control have haste. Whenever you attack, if a pirate and a vehicle attack this combat, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. So there's a decent handful of pirates in Izzet, within the Izzet colors. You know, it's not unreal. Like, in certain sets, you can never rely on the last paragraph, but in this set, it might happen. Is it easy? No, I don't think it's easy. But, you know, a 3/3 with haste is okay. You know, in these colors, not that difficult to cast. You get to draw the cards and then discard cards before combat damage, before blockers, which is kind of nice for drawing into tricks, etc. But I don't think the last paragraph is a huge boon. I think it's nice, but relatively minor. So I'm mostly evaluating this as a 3 mana 3/3 hastes, which is fine. It's fine. So I think in color, this is like a C+, and I'd probably take this as a C-.
It's also Vehicle Save Haste, it's not bad, but there are 4 common pirates. Some of them are pretty bad. But it can happen, but it is pretty hard. It's not just gonna always happen. So C-, C+ seems fine. Seems fine. Not a great body, but it's okay body. Next up we got Atchik, Emerald Radiant. I don't know why these Golgari cards, man. They always look so powerful when I look at the art. Like that vehicle that is like, it always looks so powerful. Maybe it's like the black green land. I don't know. Maybe it's the black and green color.
I think we're used to seeing black and green in the color cost and thinking 2 for 1, 3 for 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also true. That's also true. So this is like a 6 mana, 3 black green. It's a 3/3. Whenever it enters, create a 1/1 green insect creature token for each artifact and or creature card in your graveyard. Whenever another insect you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, and each opponent loses 1 life. Okay, if you have things in your graveyard, that's very powerful. How many things do you need? It's probably 3, where it gets like, where it's very, very powerful, right? And more than that is just crazy. 2 is okay, but 3 is very. Sorry, what?
Yeah, 2's okay. 2's okay.
3 plus is where it gets like, man, this is powerful. And I don't think that... Not easy. It is not easy. It's not super easy. But it is a powerful effect. I think I'm gonna go with a B- in color, but pick it as highly as a C. Is there any mill?
There's mole. There's the mole, pothole mole.
There's a mole, which is really
common,
good.
I think.
It's a really good common.
There's a Surveil 2/2 in black that flies. It's good.
Ah, but it's a 1/3, right? I think C+ is okay and B- in color.
Okay. I think I'm leaning a little bit more on the B side. I don't think it would be that difficult to get X = 3 by the time you want to cast this.
I can go to a
just
B.
by
I
virtue
can go
of
to a B. I can go to a B. I like
trading,
B.
yeah. Okay, I'll go to a B. Like, cause like 3 is powerful. 3 is one of those cards your opponent taps 6 mana, they play this, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is pretty good. It's pretty bad for me. So I'm on a B in color for this one.
There is one insect in black.
Debris Beetle.
Okay.
Debris Beetle is 2 black-green for an artifact vehicle. It's a 6/6 with trample. When this vehicle enters, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Crew 2. Okay, this is what you wanted to see in a vehicle.
Yeah.
You wanted to see this kind of stat line. You wanted to see something really beefy, really undercosted, with a pretty solid effect on its own.
That is not undercosted.
The fact that this comes down and buys you a little bit of time if, for example, say you can't crew it immediately, you're just setting up for like a turn 5 attack. Not bad. You've bought yourself a little bit of time. You're pressuring your opponent's life total. I think this is a good card.
It's a huge life
I
steal.
think in color, I think it's a B in color. And I'd probably take it as like a B.
I think because of all the vehicles, I'm gonna take this as... Crew 2 is good. Crew 2 is good for this. And I guess you have time to maybe like build up your board if you have too many vehicles. I'm gonna take it as a C+. In color I would say B-, but I can go to a B. But I think it's B- still. But let's go to a B. The Debris Beetle. It's not crap that it's... This is so funny, this thing. Like, what kind of a vehicle is this? Where do you sit? What is this? This doesn't look like a vehicle, man. Oh, does it sit up there? Okay. Where are the controls? Okay, sure, I can go to a B, but I think it's gonna go down a bit, probably. Next up, Explosive Getaway. For 3 and a red and a white, it's a sorcery. Exile up to 1 target artifact or creature. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Explosive Getaway deals 4 damage to each creature. Yep! But it's a set with vehicles. It is not gonna be a board wipe. It's gonna kill creatures, a lot of creatures. But it's not gonna kill vehicles. In a normal set, you exile your creature that has 4 or less toughness. Kill. You have a crazy good board wipe, right? Because you did play your creatures anyways. And kind of like Sunfall, right? Kind of, not exactly obviously, but kind of. But there are vehicles in this set, so... Doesn't kill your vehicles, doesn't kill theirs, but that's true. It's still pretty good, I think. Not sure how good in Boros. This is a very good splash, maybe? I think I'm gonna go for B- because Boros feels more aggressive. But it's also a good splash in Sun. B- and B in color, I think. Not exactly like Sunfall because it fucking doesn't kill vehicles. An opponent starts playing things first. Maybe B plus. Okay, what do you want to say? I'm B plus in colors. Fine.
Ooh, nice. Okay. So I think this is awkward. I think between not killing large creatures and not killing large green creatures and not killing vehicles, which I think spans a lot of decks,
That's true.
is awkward, and being awkward in Boros specifically, because Boros is going to be like a little bit. I understand they have vehicles, etc., but you're also going to have a lot of like small ball pilots too. So I kind of want to splash red and like Orzhov, I guess. You know,
This
some
can be blown
slower
out as well.
deck. So I think this misses too much. I'm actually on a C plus in color.
Yeah, okay, C plus, go down, go down. This can also be blown out, yeah. And the green creatures are, yeah, it's probably with green. What if this was in a color without vehicles? Sorry.
That'd be worse.
That'd be worse?
Yeah. In a color without vehicle? You mean a set?
Set without vehicles.
Much better. I think those would be pretty dang good.
Yeah.
In a set without vehicles.
Because you really want to know that your
approaching
board
A range.
Sorry, what?
I think it would be approaching A range.
The thing is like with the the board vibes. It's not about you're gonna have vehicles too. It's not about that. It's about like I really want them to do what they do to clear the board. I really want that. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm waiting a little bit. I'm waiting, and then opponent plays a vehicle or two, and it's like, oh wait, I waited, and it's not gonna be good. Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. If I'm gonna put a 5-mana card in my deck, I want to know what it does when I cast it.
Exactly.
And you don't actually know what this does.
Yeah. Yeah. It
depends on what your opponent does by a lot.
Especially in this set. It's not even close to sample. Okay. And if a Boros is aggressive, these effects get waivers. Okay, I can go to C minus and a C plus now that I think about it a bit more.
That's kind of where I'm at. Colodin, Triumph Caster. Red, white. 2 mana for a legendary creature, human pilot. It's a 2/3 with mounts and vehicles you control have haste. Whenever a mount you control enters, it becomes saddled until end of turn. Whenever a vehicle you control enters, it becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. This is kind of a beating. It's kind of a beating.
Mm-hmm.
This does not fundamentally, long-term, solve the fact that you have a bunch of vehicles in your deck. So do not put this card in your deck and then jam 10 vehicles in it and say, hey, I have Colodin, I'll be fine. That's not how it works, really. But this does mean if you have this on turn 2 and you're curving out, yeah, your draws are going to be the delta in your draw is going to be huge between not having this on turn 2 and having this on turn 2.
Because it can be awkward.
This is such a crazy curve out card.
Yeah.
Really strong. To the point, I think this is a B minus in color, and I'd probably take it as a C minus.
Yeah, same. It's just like never splash. So C minus, B minus seems fine. It's also like this. When you imagine these scenarios, yeah, it's perfect. But when you don't draw it in that deck where you have a lot of vehicles, oh my god, what am I doing? I'm losing games. But then also when you draw it on turn 3 or something, it's gonna be a lot of times. It's gonna be like, I don't want to play this. I want to play something else this turn. So it's a little bit awkward if you draw it a bit later. 2-3 body is still nice, so why not? And it can like run away with the game. I actually think that this card. Oh, you know this is possible. I actually think that this card is not gonna have the greatest stats. And big deal is also going to be how people are building their decks and how many vehicles they're putting. This is gonna have interesting stats and they're gonna kind of suck. Next up, Sita Varma, Masked Racer. For a green and a blue, it's a 2/3. He has exhaust for X, green, green, blue. So X plus 3. Put X +1/+1 counters on this guy. And then you may have the base power and toughness of each other creature you control become equal. Whoa, to Sita Varma's power until end of turn. It's a 2/3, that's not bad, but an exhaust, like for 4 mana you put a 1. You may have, right? For 5 mana you put 2. I mean, it's a great 2-drop that's gonna be nightmare to block later on, right? Or it's gonna be nightmare to block other things. Yeah, why not? Why not? C plus and B, actually. What more can you ask from a 2-drop?
This is threatening.
Yeah.
Agreed. Same grade.
And imagine you have that snake, and then you ramp even more, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, okay. First 3 color cards, Cody.
3 color cards. Ah, somewhat the driving force. Give me 1 second, sorry. Somewhat the driving force. 3 red, green, white, 6 mana for a legendary creature. Human warrior cleric. It's a 4/5 with first strike, vigilance, and haste. Start your engines. Other creatures you control get +X+0, where X is your speed. Non-creature spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is your speed. Interesting one. I don't think you see this at uncommon or common at all. That it cares about something other than your max speed.
Yes.
Or there might be a couple cards,
I think
but
there's nothing.
This doesn't care about your max speed. This cares about just whatever your speed is. So can technically work on its own. So this immediately comes down. Your board can get huge immediately. Let's say you have like 2 or 3 speed, I think is pretty reasonable by turn 6. I think that's reasonable in a certain deck. If you're splashing, maybe a bit less so, but still. I don't care about the non-creature spell clause that much. It's nice, but not super important. But if you untap with it, your combat tricks at least will mostly cost just 1 mana. The main part is boosting your power for me immediately, making a huge swing. The body itself on this, pretty good in combat. Vigilance, first strike for 4 power, not bad. Is it worth splashing, and is it worth 6 mana? I think a bit. I do think that, we can read off all these effects. They're good effects. Is it worth 6 mana, and is it worth the splash?
Yep.
I do think so, but not like a slam dunk. And not in like a slam dunk sort of way.
Maybe sometimes, right?
Yeah, so I think I would take this card at like a C for me. Any other like good card for specific archetypes that don't demand 3 colors, I would take over this. But if I see it like mid pack, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can take this and see if we can make it work. So C for me.
If this like comes in, it's like +4, +0 to everything. Green has some things that go wide, like that one that makes a 3/3 body. But it. I'm gonna C minus. What do you give it?
I give it a C.
I want to C minus. It's like this is always a splash. That's the problem. It's no value. It's just like aggro, but not trample. Doesn't buff itself, so maybe it can't even attack. The non-creature part is nothing. It's useless. I don't know, man. I don't know if these colors together are interested in splashing. That's also a big deal. Unless it's something super powerful. So C minus, I can see it going down, but I can see it going up.
Red-green itself can easily make a treasure.
Oh, that okay.
Easily.
Well,
2-drop common can make treasure. Red-green uncommon makes treasures. Not bad.
Okay, okay. Still gonna keep it as C minus and C. I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna see how it works in the decks, but who knows. Next up, we have Mythics. Which means you're gonna see these cards pretty rarely. Also, just something that I always say about rares is don't judge a color pair or anything with the rares, right? If a color has tons of great rares like green in OTJ, Mythics don't matter that much, they do, but rares more. It's gonna be maybe a little bit better color, because if you have ton of bombs, you can probably get one a little bit easier, but it's not that important. Like commons, uncommons, those are the bulk of your deck. Rares don't exist until you see them in your draft, and they most of the times don't exist in games until you see them from your opponents. You don't think too much about them. So yeah, don't judge a color pair, which I see a lot of times. That's why I always say this once in a tier list, in a set review. I see that a lot of times, people judging color pairs or colors based on the rares and combos and synergies. That's not it. That's not it. Once you have a rare or something, then you can maybe think a little bit about the synergies, but not too much because it's just one card. Next up, we are on to the Gear Hulks. They came back. The first Gear Hulk is Azorius is a Riptide Gear Hulk for 1 double white and double blue. For 5 mana, it's a 2/5 artifact creature. Has double strike, prowess, and when this creature enters, for each opponent, put up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls into its owner's library, third from the top. So they're gonna draw it in 4 turns. No, in 3 turns. In 3 turns, my bad. 3 is 3. 3 equals 3 in 3 turns. Yeah, that's worth it for 5 mana. It has kind of like a 4/5, a little bit better than that. Prowess, nice. Only probably in Azorius, because it's hard to cast. All of these Gearhulks are, and it gives you card advantage and tempo advantage. Like, these are always gonna, whenever a card gives you both tempo advantage and card advantage, those are hard not to be crazy broken. Very hard, because that's how you win 99% of the limited games. Either tempo or value. When you get both from a card, crazy powerful. So I would say this is kind of a bomb. Gives you a body. Opponent loses 1 card. Also opponent loses mana on the battlefield. Yeah, this is really, really good. Any non-land permanent. I'm giving this A- and A- in color or A in color? You can decide on the in color rate.
I'll give it an A in color.
A seems fine.
Yeah, you can never block this unless you just cross your fingers your opponent has nothing. Or you can chump it, obviously. You can chump it, or you can like cross your fingers and pray.
Yeah.
The prowess is nothing to sneeze at on this card. Prowess makes this almost unkillable in combat, I think.
It's
kind
gonna
of
be
nuts.
hard, yeah.
Yeah. So this is extremely strong. This is everything that, as you said, you want to do in limited. So A for me.
It does literally everything you want for winning the game. The downside is you kind of probably have to be Azorius, so it's not gonna be... It's gonna be very hard to splash. Most of the time not worth it, because of double pip. Next up.
Alright, next is Oil Deep Gearhulk. It's a blue, black, 4 mana total for an artifact creature construct. It's a 4/4 with lifelink and ward 1. When this creature enters, look at the target player's hand. You may choose a card from it. If you do, that player discards that card, then draws a card. 4 mana, black, blue is a bad mana cost. That's a bad mana cost. It's going to be highly inconsistent to cast this on turn 4.
Yeah.
How good is it when you cast it on turn 4? Decent. It's going to be decent. Not even like super crazy. Not even like you're crushing the game now and you're so far ahead. It's going to be decent. This is not even like overstated for its mana cost. You can take out your opponent's best card for random card, which in limited, the delta between your best cards and your worst cards in a random hand is not that high. This card is not very good, in my opinion. I think this is like I probably take this at like a C-, and in color, it's like a C+.
Hey, yeah, like 4 lifelink is really, really good, and good effects and everything. What happened? This is so different. Like, they basically cost the same, right? Because it's hard to have blue and black on the same turn, but then this thing like gives you card advantage and board advantage. It's so weird. You can also use it on yourself. That's true. What do you get?
C+ in color. And I take it as a C-.
You can look at their... What do you mean doesn't... Yeah, it's not real. You can look at their hand and choose nothing. That's also something. I don't know. I think it's still kind of... It's still pretty good. I mean, why did they draw a card? Oh, I guess C+ in color looks fine. And I'm picking it as a C-.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, what is this? Gearhulks are broken. This one is not. But is this one broken? Coldstoke Gearhulk for 1 and a black and a red and a red. By the way, we didn't talk about how to cast Riptide Gearhulk. Why that's hard to cast? Because the effects get you there. This effect kind of doesn't. I can see it being better than what we gave it, but it's because 4 lifelink is a great body. I would like to go to B- in color, but let's see how it works. Coldstoke Gearhulk, okay, 5 mana. Mana's Death Touch for 5 and a 4. Creature So, when this creature enters, put target creature card with mana value 4 or less from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control with a finality counter on it. That creature gains menace, death touch, and haste. At the beginning of your next end step, exile that creature. No vehicles, only creatures.
That's weird, right? In this set, that doesn't grab vehicles. That's weird.
Feels like a little bit weaker Hellkite from Pioneer Masters. Because it's so hard to cast. And again, this doesn't provide tempo advantage and this doesn't provide value advantage. Like over the top value over the top tempo, just like a normal creature. For this kind of a cost, this stat line is fine. I mean, as that touch is oppressive, but it's very hard to cast. Not great. Kind of feels like the last one was better. It's still a C+, but I pick it as a C-. What do you think?
I think this card is a little bit better than the last one.
Yeah.
Especially in the colors as well. I do think that Rakdos does want to be pressuring your opponent's life total, and getting something 4 or less back and hitting them with it is not nothing. You know, like imagine on average this says ETB deal 3 damage. I think that's a pretty solid card. I think this is a B- in color. Because you ain't blocking menace, death touch, temporary creature.
Yeah, but it doesn't block that great as well, I guess.
Yeah. But like if this said 5 mana, 5/4 menace, death touch, lightning bolt your opponent's face, that's pretty good.
Imagine you're turning Vaxen Spellthief with this. What is the Vaxen Spellthief? I mean, I kind of want to really give this other one a B- because I kind of like the stats more. I like the 4/4 lifelink more than this. Like, huge life swing.
Even on turn 5?
Yeah. You look at their hand, I guess. Like, okay, B-.
I mean, like we can't completely discount the fact that sometimes you will play it even on turn 5. You're going to see some crazy mythic and you'll be like, all right, draw land. You know, that's like some upside. So
what is the upside?
well, it's some upside that like cycling your opponent's hand sometimes will have really good effects for you.
Or cycling your hand.
Yeah.
Underwhelming. Let's go next.
Next one is Pyrewood Gearhulk. Pyrewood Gearhulk is 2 red, green for a 7/7 artifact creature construct with vigilance and menace. When this creature enters, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain vigilance and menace until end of turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn.
That's something.
Yo, this 6 mana huge.
That's something.
I do not need this to kill the opponent when it enters, right? If this deals like 4-6 damage when it enters, and then this will finish the job as a 6 mana 7/7 vigilance menace. You're not even exposing yourself that much. Like your cards it'll be hard to trade with your cards when this comes down. Your 2/2s will become 4/4s. It's crazy hard to trade off. You know, like maybe like one of your creatures will die and like 3 of your opponent's creatures will die and you'll get in a decent chunk of damage. If you play this on an empty board, I'm happy. You have no effect, no ETB effect. That's fine. And that's sort of like worst case scenario if you actually get to the 6 mana. I like this. This is good. This is a good card. I do think this is a B+ in color. I'd probably take it as a B-.
I think this is an A- in color. So this is just huge.
I'm down for that.
And for 6 mana, you kind of have double red, double green most of the time. And I'm picking it as a B+.
Okay, easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucking Vigilance Menace +2/+2. Jesus Christ. I think it's an A in color, actually.
Huge.
Can we give it an A in color?
That's fine. I don't need that much arm twisting. It's really good.
You can also crew the vehicle with this, right? So it's an effect that doesn't target. So you crew the vehicle and that gets +2/+2. Hell yeah! This is the one.
Quick explanation. When this enters the battlefield, its effect will go on the stack. In response to that effect going on the stack, you then crew your vehicle. I think on Arena, I think you do have to hold full control.
Maybe they changed it, but yeah.
Maybe they
You
changed
had to in the past. Bright Glass Gearhulk for double green and double white. Does Celestia get more good stuff? It's a 4/4 first strike trample. When this creature enters, you may search your library for up to 2 artifact creature and or enchantment cards with mana value 1 or less. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle. Okay, 4/4 first strike trample, that's a little bit irritating to deal with. Kind of oppressive mana cost. Mana value less than 2, I'm kind of searching. So, on common, we have an amazing green 1-drop, that's great to get. In white, that's about it for green. In white, we do have artifact creature or enchantment. Do have an enchantment, do have a creature, I mean... I think this can realistically... If you're playing a green deck, like... I think this can realistically get you, like, one thing. It's crazy if it gets you 2 things, that's just crazy. Because these 1-drops are not 1-drops. These are not like, oh, now I have 1-drops. Like, that 1-drop that I'm talking about in green, that's like a 1-drop with exhaust for 4, and it's actually kind of like a really extremely powerful 4-drop. But you pay 5. Yeah, green mouse 1-drop is what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm gonna B minus B for C plus B for this one. C plus B.
Yeah, I like in color B.
Yeah. Anything to add?
No, even on turn 5, kind of fine with it. You do have to keep in mind when you're drafting to be able to extract some value off of this, but I don't think it'll be that difficult.
There are also some really, really nice uncommons as well. I mean, maybe not really nice, but not very nice. Okay, go. You go next. You go next.
Are we going to white? White commons?
No, we still have a Ketramus, the New Dawn. Right, that's card in the set.
Okay, can you read that one? I'll find it.
Is it a card in the set? It's gotta be when it's here. Okay.
Yeah, it's here. It's here.
Ketramus, the New Dawn. For 1 and a white and a black. It's a 4/4 God. Menace, lifelink, indestructible, but it can't attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile. Whenever 1 or more cards are put into exile from graveyards and or battlefield during your turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. What? Wait, I mean, okay, so what? How do I put it? Not good. It's like there's that 4-drop colorless thing that puts things in exile when it enters the text. There are the max speed guys in every color, the commons that you exile them for 3. 7? You're not gonna have 7. So this is never
The
creature.
white common
right?
removal spell. White common removal spell exiles.
Okay. This is never creature. Like literally never, right?
Never.
Never. Let's forget about the Menace Life Indestructible, which is completely broken. Completely broken. But that doesn't exist. So without that, I think it's crap. And I'm just D minus, because maybe there's some place where... It's horrible, it's an F! It's not playable, this is an F. It does nothing when it enters and you're gonna lose life later when you draw and blah.
Yeah, it's an F.
Wait, there's an echo when I get excited?
I think it's on my end at that point. I think it's because I don't have headphones. It probably cycles back into my mic.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
When you get really loud.
Oh. Next.
It's Are we talking about the frog?
Yeah.
Sab Sunen? Okay, Sab Sunen. Luxa Embodied. 3 green, blue. For a legendary creature god, it's a 6/6 with reach and trample, indestructible. Sab Sunen can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters on it. 0 is even. At the beginning of your first main phase, put a +1/+1 counter on Sab Sunen. Then, if it has an odd number of counters on it, draw 2 cards. Blocks the turn it enters. Reach, trample, indestructible. Unless you exile it immediately, you're not attacking through this. Unless your opponent's dead. Next turn, you draw 2 cards. With those 2 cards, hopefully you can defend yourself. Turn after that, back to being a huge blocker, or can start bashing in there with trample, reach, indestructible, not getting off the battlefield. And that cycle will continue. Even if you, well, can you remind me, does the blue tap spell, does that take away abilities? It does, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a couple ways. There's a white common, there's a blue common. So it's not untouchable, but it's very, very, very good. I think this is an A and an A.
Sure. I'm an A and an A as well. It's like, yeah, what is it like? So 5 mana 6/6. it can block the first turn. Then you draw 2 cards, then you're
Yep.
kind of like, ooh, but you can play out those cards. And then the second turn, it attacks as an 8/8. That's huge. And then you draw 2 more cards. Yeah, fuck yeah. That's a bomb.
Yeah, this is a bomb.
Also, this is kind of a little bit fair bomb, right? Because there is, it's not like Bonnie Paul. You play it and opponent is like, okay, good game. It does stop being a creature while at least it doesn't make multiple bodies, and it stops being a creature, right? So I don't think it's an A+ because of that. It's not always gonna be a creature as well. I think there are some things that give it counters. So that's gonna be interesting. Pair infinite card draw engine. It's not like that. It's infinite card draw engine is like you just draw forever. Yeah, this is pretty good. Like, it's a card draw spell that protects you as well. That's so huge. If you look at it just like that, but it's also gonna kill the opponent. Oh wait, it doesn't have vigilance. I kind of thought it has vigilance. That would be crazy, right? Then it attacks and can block as well. Okay.
I should have flash too, yeah.
Flash as well. That's very good.
Lifelink.
Mimoplasm, revered one. What is this art? I dig it. These are all in the set, right?
Yeah, this looks like it's in the set.
Yeah, they are in the set. Okay, we have a 3-color card. For X and green and black and blue. It's a 0/0 ooze. As it enters, exile up to X creature cards from your graveyard. It enters with 3+1/+1 counter on it for each creature exiled this way. Okay. For 2, this thing becomes a copy of a target creature card exiled with it, except it's a 0/0 and has this ability. Okay, so you pay 6, you get a 9/9, but... Like, pay 6, you get a 9/9. And then it's way bigger than a 9/9 if you make it become some of these creatures. It's not a 0/0. Oh no,
Why is it bigger than a
0/0. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Except
Okay.
it's not way bigger. It's what it is. That's okay. I don't know. That's kind of crappy. It's I don't know. Man. No. It's the one big body when you must splash for it, and it has a condition also. That's a problem in my book. So you must splash for this. It's always gonna be a splash, right? So that's a cost. That's a real cost. And it's one big body. Man, I don't like this. I'm gonna give it a D, and that's it.
This is a lot of hoops. This is
Yeah.
a D+ for me.
Yeah. And one big body. I mean, no. Now this is different.
Are we at loot now?
Yeah.
Okay, loot. The Pathfinder. Loot is 2 green, blue, red. For a legendary creature, Beast Noble, it's a 2/4 with double strike, vigilance, and haste. Exhaust green and tap it. Add 3 mana of any one color. Exhaust blue and tap it. Draw 3 cards. Exhaust the red and tap it. Loot deals 3 damage to any target. So you can exhaust it a total of 3 times without flickering it or bouncing it or something. But on its own, vigilance, double strike, haste. Not even that bad on a 5-drop. Not even that bad on a 5-drop. If you have 6 mana when you cast this, be able to draw 3 cards or deal 3 damage, crazy strong. Crazy strong. I don't really care about the mana. It's nice, but I don't care about it.
You don't care about what? The green exhaust?
The mana, the green ability.
I kind of do, because it's like
fine.
you're gonna draw 3 cards, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm probably using the first 2 modes first.
Yeah, the first 2 first before he dies, but yeah.
And then if those first 2 abilities resolve, I'm probably have won the game. Probably. But it's nice if it stays around. Yeah, good card. We're definitely worth splashing. Super happy to splash it. So this is like I'm taking this as like a B+.
This is so hard to block, man. Like, if you have red up, because it has vigilance. Like, double strike, 2 double strike, and then you can deal 3 damage to something. It is so fucking hard to block, man. I'm okay with a B+ as well, because it's always a splash, right? But it's a great splash. And I think it's in a good colors to splash.
I mean, you know how to block this? It's with your 6 mana common in green.
That's true. That is true.
That trades with it.
It is.
I mean, that's not nothing. That's real.
That is true. That is true. But that's kind of it. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
And we are done with. There's a good amount of multicolors. We're done with multicolors, colorless. Go on to white. Scotty, you ready?
Nope. I gotta go to the bathroom and get some water.
I gotta go to the bathroom and get some water. Okay.